YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with a new series that we'll do every single Friday, college football power rankings. This is how I think the ranking system should go. Everybody's starting off even in college football, and then we start ranking teams based off multiple things, a mixture of things, which are how good the team actually is, who they play, who they beat, who they lose to, how well they look against the teams they just beat. If a team gets on a streak, gets hot, that helps them in these rankings. The record obviously means something, and how well they execute. Is it just certain positions? Is it just one side of the ball? I want the full team to execute well with high chemistry. I want the coaching to be great. So all of that goes into this. I'm not just picking favorites. So I expect this to be, I expect them to move a bit on this. It's kind of boring looking at the AP poll and the college football poll where it's just the same teams at the top and there's really no movement unless somebody wins or somebody loses. I think my rankings, there'll be a little bit more movement based off how teams execute and who they play. So we'll go through this every single week. I got the top 10 for you first, and then at the end of the video, a bunch of teams that just missed the cut that impressed me, and a bunch of teams that just missed the cut because they're good, but they didn't impress me too much. Right before we get started with this Power Rankings video, we got plenty of extra content available, bonus videos that you won't see here on YouTube on the Patreon, patreon.com/thegoathouse, link at the top of the description, and then you can join our NFL Pick'ems League. College Football Pick'ems League is actually free. Check out our College Football Pick'ems video to get into that, which we do every single week, and then Discord chat you can join as well, constant discussions in there. And then 40K is our subscriber goal. We got you covered, college football, NFL content all week long. So help us get to that subscriber goal. Click that notification button on. Click the like button. Check out our Twitter. Let's start with number 10 on my college football power rankings heading into week 2. Texas is number 10. I think a real good football team here. They didn't have the best competition this week. They play LA Tech, kind of like every team. Most teams didn't have the best competition. They executed pretty well on offense. They gave up, the points they gave up, they were all late. So I'm not really too worried about that. I think a very good team. I'm still curious to see how the defense will be going forward. I do want to see the offense, how they'll be throwing the ball downfield against the better teams going forward as well. But defensively losing some top-tier talent, will it affect them going forward? To me, based off only 1 week, I got them at number 10. Number 9 on my ranking is going to be the Florida Gators. Now, what the Florida Gators have going for them going into this ranking system is that they beat a pretty solid team, I'd say. Not a ranked team, but a pretty solid team in Miami. A lot better than some of the other teams, some of the teams that these other teams played on here. But they did not execute all that well. They really didn't look good in general. Their pass rush was pretty good. I think Miami's offensive line was just pretty terrible. But offensively, they weren't too smart, and they didn't play too well. So a lot of sloppy play, but they did beat a good team. So beating a solid team gets them the top 9, but couldn't, top 10, I should say, but couldn't have them go higher than number 9. There's a little bit of sloppy play. They did play a week earlier than everybody else, though. Number 8 is going to be Ohio State. Not thrilled with their game. Against Florida Atlantic, I like the way their offense played. It looks interesting with Justin Fields, to say the least. I like how it looks going forward. I think this team's better than the number 8 team, but they showed me they deserve to be right here at number 8 for right now. Still have some concern about their defense. Last year that was all of a sudden out of nowhere a concern. Their defense gave up a little bit too many points in yardage, and they did give up a little bit to Florida Atlantic. It was late. Some backups were in, so that kind of gives us hope, but the defense does, I think, need to play a little better, but exciting to see the Justin Fields era Ohio State. They're at number 8 for what they did in week 1. Number 7 is going to be Texas A&M. They only play a team like Texas State, but then they executed very well. Offense looks fun. I think it's going to be very excited this year. They play Clemson this week, so that could potentially be telling us who could be climbing my rankings big time in that big game. But I like this offense a lot. I think they're very well coached. The defense looked pretty solid. I guess the defense is somewhat the concern going forward against the good teams. But offensively, I didn't think they showed us anywhere near of all of them, what they have to offer for us. I think they're much better, and they executed and played a very well, very, very good game there, but they did play Texas State. So they're at number 7 for now. Number 6, it's going to be LSU, another one, they executed very well. I was very impressed with their offense. I was very impressed with Burrow, even though he's, not playing the best competition in Georgia Southern, and I guess that's why they couldn't really be too much higher than number 6. But even though I said all those things, Burrow threw the ball very well. Very good placement. Was very impressive. LSU seems like they finally got that true quarterback and a guy that can actually improve. So their game against my number 6 versus number 10 this week, Texas, that's a big game. Somebody can really move up from this, and that's going to matter. Somebody can really soar up these rankings. So that's why I'm really excited about these rankings. It ain't no AP poll or college football playoff, This is just my way, my ranking system. And LSU is a super impressive team. They very well could be better than number 6 playing Georgia Southern. I want a little more, but again, very impressive. Number 5, I'm going to start to surprise some people here. Number 5 very well could be the most talented and best team in all of college football. It's the Clemson Tigers. It's not really, I don't think they played bad or anything. Obviously, they gave it to Georgia Tech, an ACC team, and they played very well. It's just mainly, I think the other 4 teams deserve to be ahead of them. That's mainly what it is. If I had to split hairs here, Trevor Lawrence didn't play his best game. Really, it was Travis Etienne. He was just dominant. Definitely after week 1, a Heisman candidate, one of the better players in college football. He kind of, I don't want to say carried because they didn't really need him to carry, but he kind of did, though, at the same time, and got them off to a great start because they didn't throw the ball that well. The defense was pretty solid, but for the most part, that's kind of just splitting hairs and just trying to find weaknesses because it's mainly the 4 teams ahead of them are more deserving of a top 4 because who they played and how they all around executed. That's really why. Like I said, and Clemson was my number 1 team preseason, so I do think you could argue they are the best team, and I'm not doubting that. We're only through week 1. I think this system over time will have the better team get to the top. That's why I like this system. But through 1 week, they're at number 5. Number 4 is going to be the Auburn Tigers. And are they the 4th best team in football? I think some teams like Clemson possibly are better, But Auburn goes out and schedules Oregon, and they get the win against who I was high on, a very good team on Oregon, So it kind of goes in how good I think the team is they just beat. I think Oregon's a good team. And so Auburn had the best win in terms of who they played this week. So you could say, why are they not number 1? I think they could have executed a little better, a little sloppy. I thought other teams, even though they didn't play the better competition, just played much better. If Auburn, just proved to me that they're a great team while beating Oregon, then they could have easily been number 1. I do like them all the way at number 4 though, because that they had a challenge and they beat the challenge. I like the. Bo Nix didn't play the greatest game, but I like the balls on Bo Nix. At the end of the game, to throw the ball downfield, and he's very confident too. I liked that a lot. Same with Gus Malzahn. I thought he stayed pretty confident and allowed his quarterback, even though he's a true freshman, to go do those things. I thought there was other bright spots. Receivers stepped up at times late. Derek Brown's an absolute animal. The corners got physical. They stepped up. They really adjusted to the run. Verdell was running all over them at first. They were running all over them, and then late in the game when Oregon was just trying to waste the clock and just run the ball, Auburn was not letting them go anywhere. So very impressive to step up. The linebackers started to step up too. So very impressive Auburn there. Although they're a little sloppy at times, need a little work, mainly offensively, but give them credit for playing Oregon. That's why they're at number 4. Number 3 is going to be Oklahoma. Maybe the best offense in the country. Very impressive offense. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Jalen Hurts would be my Heisman pick right now with Travis Etienne right behind him, but we're only through week 1. Hurts was super impressive throwing the ball and running the ball. Lit it up. Very good play calling, obviously. Very good game plan, obviously. And it's tough having a 3, because they actually played a pretty good team in Houston. I think a well-coached team, a pretty darn good team, a hard team to game plan against. So Oklahoma had an opportunity to be number 1 here, or top 2 here, even though I do have them in a good spot at 3 on my rankings because, they executed very well. Offense is the best in the country right now, in my opinion. And I think Texas A&M actually can battle them with that. And same with, obviously, some of the other top-tier teams we'll talk about in Clemson. But the defense started off very good. And, if the defense kept going with that, that would have impressed me, surprised me, and that could have put them up better than 3 possibly. So the defense started giving things up. Houston finally started to figure it out. So I am still a little worried about the defense, kind of like always with these Big 12 teams. But offense was fun. It's a very hard offense to stop there. So they're at number 3. Number 2 is going to be the Georgia Bulldogs. They go out and play a underrated and good team in Vanderbilt. They have mainly what stood out here was, Georgia was all around balanced. I like the execution from everywhere on the field. They mainly ran the ball. Wish you could have seen them throw more, but that was just kind of them being smart. But mainly the defense impressed me so much because they lost a lot of key guys, and we saw those, someone like guy like DeAndre Baker sat out of the bowl game against Texas, and that kind of hurt them. So there was some concerns, but against a Vanderbilt team that has weapons, they have a quarterback, they have running back, they have receiver, they have tight end. They got some top guys that can play, and they just hold them, to nothing there. They couldn't even score on them. So I thought that was very impressive, but they execute on offense very well too. So they play a good team in Vanderbilt, not the best team. They play a good team in Vanderbilt, execute on all phases. That's why Georgia's number 2. But I do have Alabama at number 1. They show me that they're the best team in the country right now. Their execution on both sides of the ball, and Duke, they're not a bad team. Duke's not a bad team. I think like a team like Vanderbilt's a little better. Obviously, a team like Oregon is a better matchup. A better, harder task, I should say. But Alabama just execute on all phases. It really doesn't matter who's in the game for Alabama, it seems like at times. They can run the ball hard. They can throw the ball very well. They have the receiver talent, and it all showed up. You can have the talent, but you have to show me it too. But Alabama did that. Both sides of the ball, execution, very well coached. Alabama team right now looks like almost the clear-cut best team in the country, but that's only after week 1. But again, I'm doing this video every week. But right now, looks like the clear-cut number 1. Again, doing this every week, and I can't wait to see if somebody else can be the new number 1. But other teams I want to talk about. So, starting on the left, other teams that impress me, other impressive teams to me, Wisconsin. I almost included Wisconsin in the top 10 because they execute on all phases. Very good game plan, too. They played South Florida, not the best team, but it's not the worst team. There was definitely teams that were, worse that they played. So Wisconsin impressed me. Jonathan Taylor was super impressive. To hold them to 0 points while scoring 49 was very impressive. Washington offensively looked super impressive. Jacob Eason, so that's a team to watch out for. Boise State, true freshman quarterback, started off a little slow. The team in general started off a little slow. Second half, game plan and turnaround was just, it looked like they just kind of had to get the nerves out of the way, and then they go out and execute. Look like a very, very good team in the second half. Virginia, a team I still don't know how they're not ranked. They're good on both sides of the ball. I thought, even though they're much better than Pittsburgh, I thought that game would just be tight just because it's week 1. It's somewhat of a rival game, but they really stuck it to them. Very good execution on offense, and they got a very solid defense, too. One of the best corners in the country in Bryce Hall. And then Penn State really ran it up on Idaho, and executing on offense and on defense, Matos had himself another great game. So those are teams that were really impressive. Teams that were good but not good enough to be in my top 10. Oregon, I think, on paper, they're a top 10 team. They lost, so obviously they're out, and they didn't execute down the line. I thought they were the better team in that Auburn game. I thought they easily should have won that game. I blame coaching for that. They kind of just kept going with the short game. They did not want to put the game away. They did it last year. They did it the year before. Different coaching staff 2 years ago, though. But they got a great quarterback. You have to let the guy throw downfield. They did not let him do that until the Hail Mary at the end. A little ridiculous. Pretty poor coaching and for Oregon. Notre Dame, I think, is a top 10 team in terms of their talent, but they did not execute anywhere near it. Maybe Louisville all of a sudden is, just good, maybe, but rough team last year. It looked like the offense was kind of clicking for Notre Dame very early, and the defense was just terrible, and then it just completely flipped. Ian Book did not have a good game. They were missing Jafar Armstrong. He got hurt, and now he's going to be out for at the very, very least a month. They're saying 2 months now, so that hurts. I think they have talent on offense. Book's just got to be more than a one-read quarterback. He's just got to be more than that, and the defense picked it up, but they're lacking in the middle, interior D-line and at linebacker. They have really good edge rushers and really good safeties, solid corners. But Louisville kind of game planned pretty well and kind of took those strong parts out of it. So let's see if other teams can do that. They got to do better to get in my top 10, though. And Michigan, same thing. They got to do better. They got to win, but they played Middle Tennessee. They were a little shaky at times. I think the defense needs to play much better. A team I think is overranked in the AP poll. I don't think they're that good. Maybe they are a top 10 teams in terms of their talents. They did not show it to me there, though. But those 3 teams, I know they're good. Know they have talents. But they did not show me they belong in the top 10 yet. So we'll see. That's my system. I know people are going to have a problem with it, but that's my system. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think that's how it should be. I know it's really early to judge too. I think over time the right teams will be at the top. I really think so. And by right teams, I mean the teams that are the best teams, not what college football playoff says. So, yeah, that's my power rankings video. We'll be back every single week. I'm excited about this one. We'll see what the changes next week. Some huge games that I can't wait for. A lot on the line there. That could really make, if a team executes and beats a good team, can soar them up to number one. We'll see. So that's going to do it. Check out our other videos, college football, NFL content on the channel, and plenty more to come every single week. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.